Hi, my name is Beth Gibson. This is assignment number 2 for Communications 112, Narrative Speech, Professor Drake, and this is my audience. Many years ago, a little girl was born with a birth defect. She wasn't able to have a normal life, for she spent the first 10 years of her life going through surgery after surgery at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, her doctors wanted this little girl to have as normal a life as possible, so they worked extremely hard to figure out how to reconstruct her organs as they were born so they would function as they were meant to be. One very special doctor by the name of Dr. Norman Noy spent many sleepless nights inventing surgical procedures that had never been done before, just so this little girl and others born like her could have a chance to live. She loved all of her doctors and her nurses and was grateful to God for using them to save her life. But all this little girl dreamed of was being a regular kid. Her parents and family would tell her how special she was, and that God had a purpose in using her for doing something great for Him. So the little girl prayed for God to heal her so she would no longer be sick and she could do this great thing for God. Years later, this little girl was a teenager, going through school, making friends, playing piano, singing, and doing all the normal things that teenagers do. She still had checkups at Le Bonheur in Memphis just to make sure everything checked out okay. But she had begun to settle into a normal life. Now that she was no longer sick, this teenager asked God to help her do this great thing that He had wanted her to do. All that she had been given made her want to touch others' lives and give back. So she waited now for that great thing she could do. She was an only child, for her parents were so involved in her recovery through the years that it was never a time to grow a family. And as time passed, her parents became content with the child they had been given, for they felt that God had performed a miracle in saving her life. And she was their world. Year after year, this young girl grew into a young woman. She lived a very normal but full life by graduating high school, beginning college, getting married, and becoming a mother. Still, she wondered, when would she do this great thing for God? She prayed daily for God to use her, to guide her and direct her. Becoming a mother to 2 beautiful daughters was such a gift. Her whole life revolved around her girls, and she was happy. One day, she found out she was being blessed with a 3rd daughter. But soon after this, the young mother became very sick again. The doctors were concerned that she would not live to give birth to the child she was carrying. The young mother prayed to God, asking if He could not heal her body to please let her baby live. She knew how special her baby was and knew that this baby had purpose, so she had faith that God would see them through. Although her child was born perfectly healthy, despite the doctor's predictions, the young mother was still very sick and still grateful to God for the miracle of saving her child's life. The young mother began to go through one surgery after another once again, but somehow was able to bring a 4th child into the world a few years later. Time continued on, and the young mother prayed again for God to heal her, so she could still somehow do this great thing that she was to do for Him. Many times her illness kept her from being the mother she used to be and the mother that she wanted to be. She was not perfect and made many mistakes, but she kept praying for God's will and His strength to help her be the person those in her life needed her to be. After 14 years of surgeries, procedures, and constant hospital stays, this young mother began to heal in both body and spirit. Her 3 oldest daughters were now graduating high school and going to college, and her youngest was just becoming a teenager. Her 21-year marriage did not survive the years of intense illness and challenge, and she had to find a way to begin her life again with her daughters. The woman prayed for God to forgive her of her mistakes, and especially asked Him to forgive her for not yet accomplishing that great thing that He had wanted her to do. Still shaken by life's challenges, she decided to go back to college and finish her bachelor's degree. Slowly, she grew stronger in faith and in spirit as God helped to rebuild her life around her. One day, God sent a man into the woman's life who would become the partner and the companion she had always prayed for. God led them both to one another and began seamlessly joining their two families together in the only way that He can. So grateful for the healing and the love flowing through her heart and in the hearts of her children, this woman began to ask God what great thing she could do for Him. Memories began to flood her mind, and with one memory after another, God began to open this woman's eyes with understanding, to see beyond her own vision and to see as God sees. You were born with a birth defect, so I could lead your doctors to discover new ways to perform life-saving surgeries, not just for you, but for the many children in need who would come after you. You were given to your parents because they needed the joy of a child in their lives, and they were the kind of people who would love you unconditionally and would never give up on you. I made you a mother of 4 beautiful daughters because I have great purpose for their lives. When you became sick while carrying your 3rd child, I knew because of what you went through yourself as a child that you would have the faith to fight for your child's life. When your marriage fell apart, I gave you the strength to take responsibility for your own mistakes, to heal and to begin a life with greater understanding of what love is and what it takes to have a godly marriage. I brought you and your fiancé together so I could do great things in the lives of both of your kids and your grandkids. I am the one who lives in you and the one who lives through you. The woman began to realize that it is not the great thing we can do for God, but it is the great things that God does through our lives, through our imperfect, flawed, and unorganized lives.
Good job.
2 thumbs up.